focusing on retention.
Okay, hope you can hear me.
Yes.
Okay, let's go to the next slide. I'm going to approach retention from a commissioner perspective. I think that it's a good way to look at retention of both the ship and the youth within the ship. So I'll start out, if you're looking at a ship, I look at the committee meetings. Are they having them? I found that ships that are failing or not doing well usually don't have committee meetings. And what happens there is sometimes the equipment, the boat needs repair, they need funding, uh, reservations, stuff doesn't get done because there's nobody meeting to help make that happen. So it's very important to see that these committees are meeting and functioning and doing the proper oversight. I also look at numbers. I have access to commissioner websites. If you don't, you can look at the ship roster, see if it's moving up or down. And also, while you're looking at that roster, look at where the youth in the unit are. If all of them are seniors in high school, there's no youth members, that's not a good sign for long-term survivability of the unit. If you see only a couple people coming to meetings, that's another warning sign that something's not right. And youth may be signing up, but they're not participating, and long term, they won't stay with the program. We go to the next slide. Program, I think we've heard over and over tonight, I think it's really key to retention for both the unit and the youth. Jeff mentioned school bus. I call it the Youth Want a Disneyland ride, and it's the same concept. Today, the young folks don't get to plan, they don't get to do things, they just do what they're told. And so it's important that your program has a opportunity to break out the mold. And as I told them, okay, if you want the Disneyland ride, that's great, but you're going to drive. So one of the best plans or places to do that is a long cruise. So it takes a long time to plan a long cruise. We are fortunate in this area to have a lot of the Gulf of Mexico areas available, and we have some very large inland lakes. And I'm promoting inland ships coming down to the Gulf and getting to go out and sail and get that experience. But when it comes time to planning, we want to look and see that there's some guidance given, but not do it for them. And that is a real bonding experience for the youth when they have to figure out what are we going to eat, where are we going to go. Those chart things that are so boring and we hate looking at, all of a sudden become relevant because now we need to go from point A to point B, and we need to know how long it's going to take and do some planning. So those type activities are great to get the youth engaged in the unit and re-excited, if you will, about being a Sea Scout. We don't just do long cruises. I think it's very important that throughout the year that we have planned sails and outdoor activities. I found that a lot of the ships that we had that were failing or not doing well had boats that were broken, and so rather than fix the boats, they would have indoor classroom activities. If you look at that from a youth perspective, they're in school all day long. They're given a bunch of lessons. They learn these lessons. Then they get tested on the lessons. The last thing that they would want to do is come to a meeting for Sea Scouts and do the same thing they do in school day in and day out. So it's important to get out on the water. If you're going to teach the skills, teach it out on the water. It's important to do other outdoor activities other than camping or sailing launch. You might take them camping, for example, or some other fun activities that foster that bonding or that connection that we heard about earlier. And then finally, I think the units that are not doing well or failing are units that don't have trained leaders. They haven't been um, through their basic training. They're kind of making things up as they go, and that's where they get into trouble. This year, there's a new course called Introduction to On the Water Leadership Skills. We'll be teaching the prototype in October. And then after that, each new ship that comes along, each leader should take this course, and it will teach them everything they need to know about starting and running a Sea Scout ship. And that will go a long way, I think, toward getting our leadership on board on the way things are supposed to work. Jeff, if I could clone you and make thousands of you, that would be a perfect leader. The other thing is getting the current leaders to attend Sea Badge. That, again, is a look at the program the way it should be. And when they come back, they're generally excited. They know what they need to do. They have their rudders, which give them 5 things that they need to accomplish, and that goes a long way to reinvigorating a ship. So those are the items I came up with when I'm talking about retention of the unit and retention of the youth. And we can talk, I guess, later offline. In the interest of time, I'll yield back any